Hey guys, this is Brandon here from vNote. We're going to take a walk through our software for video analysis today. If you'd like to find out more and read through it and download it for free, you can go to vnote.org. It's at the bottom of the screen here, v-note.org, V like Victor. We're going to have a brief overview. We're not actually going to do the managing group accounts. I borrowed this slide from another presentation I just did for someone. We're going to look at the basics, how to navigate through video, how to add labels and timelines, how to actually analyze and make codes and stuff like that, how to export stuff, and we're going to look at how to synchronize videos. If you don't have any of this stuff, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you access to a folder that's shared, and you can download very short, small files to test things with. So collaborating on projects, what's that look like, and transcribing. We'll make time for that, and also where to find tutorial videos. Actually, probably do that first. So first, I'd like you to go to this site. I'll give you a minute to, unfortunately, you can't copy and paste it. I'll put it in the notes as well, and you should be able to go to this site and download a folder. So when you do, you'll right-click there, and you might have to go back and pause the video, whatever. Right-click there, download the folder, and when you do, it's going to look like this. And it's getting started, beginning with vNote, getting started. Click on that, and you'll have a video we're actually going to use. It's like 62 megs. It's the largest file in there. Links, some useful links, and some synchronizing practice, which is another video you can synchronize if you don't have one. We'll talk about what that means in a bit. So detailed notes for the training. If you want to look at what exactly we're going to talk about and how we're going to do it, this is it. So feel free to skip around in the video. We're going to kind of follow this as best we can. Useful links for training. Take a look at this. If you go to this, you'll find, I'll just click on it. Might take a minute to pop up in the browser. You can find our a list of videos that we have on YouTube for tutorials, and they should be, our manuals also are here. That's a link on that Word file. That was in the links one. Here's the list of some tutorials. Most of these are about 1 minute to 2 minutes. A couple of them are a little longer because they have to be a little bit more complex. So we have to go unpack things. So that's where you can find more videos that are shorter. You may not want to watch this long one, but if you do want to learn the ins and outs of everything together in one go, this is a video for you. To find out again, as I said, what vNote does, go to our website v-note.org. And there you can download the software if you haven't already gotten it. Just go to Get vNote Now. It's free, free forever. You get free upgrades, etc. Once you do all that, we do monetize the platform by charging for collaboration space, but we give you a half hour free. So if you wanted more hours, for example, you could pay for it that way. And we do have a version that does some other stuff like inter-rater reliability and allows you to sync up multiple videos from different angles and stuff like that. And so that would be a paid version as well, and you can find out details on our website. So once you've got the software, I'm going to minimize that. Just click on the icon to open it up, and when you do, it's going to look like that. You can log on or not, doesn't matter yet. But if you would log on, you would use the username and password that you created, or email and password you created. So click on Start New Project, and I'm going to just go to the folder that I just downloaded, which is this one. I'm going to go to Getting Started. This probably, hopefully, put this on your desktop. This is the one that you downloaded from the Dropbox link that I shared earlier. So just drag it in, and there's your video, and it's starting to play. I'm going to turn this down a little bit so that you can hear me. Hopefully that isn't too loud. So to navigate, you can get thumbnails all throughout the video just by mousing over. Like if you want to be there, that's going to be there. And just click on it, and it'll take you there. If you also want to double click here, it'll come to that point exactly in the timeline area. So, and you can also drag this play bar to scrub things. So what you've got here, you've got a couple things. These are your timeline areas. So vNote makes use of multiple timelines. And here we've got labels. So let's say every time he asks a question, I'm going to make a labeled instance on the timeline for questions. And I'm going to give that a Q key. And so I can make it a custom color or any color I want to. I'm going to make it that color just because. And if I want to add a label, I can add as many as I want to. doesn't matter. I can delete one, just click on it, right click over the left gray area there, and you'll delete it. If you want to reorder them, you can do that from here, and that'll give you the flavor. I'm going to go ahead and, just for simplicity's sake, delete a couple of these, just make less clutter so you can see what's going on. So as I'm watching this, I'm going to listen for the questions that he asks. So let's say I'm listening. Right now he starts to ask a question. I hit the Q key, and what I'm doing now is I'm laying down a labeled instance. And you saw maybe over here, I zoomed in a little bit to let you see the timeline a little bigger. I'm going to hit Q. His question's over. No more question. There we go. It's over. Now let's say I wanted it to start. I've got a little reaction time. I can have a lead time, and what that does is when I press Q, it actually sticks it back there 2 seconds. And so it gives you a little bit of reaction time. You can judge your own reaction time. It may be different depending on what you're doing. It may be different from somebody else's. You can even set it to 0 if you want, and it'll start exactly the second you put it. And if you want a little reaction time for the close, you can do the same thing. Set it. That'll be the end of it, the right side of it. So if you want single mode, like let's say every time somebody hits the ball and you just want it to be for 1 second every time, just go to single mode. And you can have a lead time, and then you can have a duration. So let's look at what that does. As I press, let's say every question is 10 seconds. I just press the Q key, and boom, it just puts it down. I don't have to press it again. So you can be firing away machine gun style rapidly. And there you go. So if I want to add some, I like double press mode. It lets me be a little more customized. But I'm going to go and you can add some notes. Notes go here. And the notes will appear there. And as you zoom in, you can see them all or not. If you want to change where they are, you can just drag them. Just click on them and drag on them. Drag them. If you want to make it a little longer, a little shorter, you can drag on it as well. Let me see here. So we call it, let's just get kind of the definition of things. So these are labels. These are timelines generally, and these we call labeled instances on timelines. You may use different notation for that, different definitions. Coding is often used. These are called codes. You apply coded instances, something like that would be okay. Just so we're on the same page, we're going to call these labels and these labeled instances. Sometimes segments works, and then these are timelines. Let's see here. To delete a label, you can right-click over it and just delete, and it's gone. No worries. So let me add another label back, just so you can see where we're going with this. And so now we got 3 on there. So if you want to draw, let's look at the drawing first. Before we hold on. Before we look at that, let's look at the ways you can modify the screen. So what I mean by that is up here you can add drawing tools, and I can do that like this. Let's say I want to draw something, and I'm going to just let it play, and then I'm going to freeze it, take it off. And if I want to see where those are, I can go to drawings label, and what that'll let me do is it'll see where they appeared. So that's where my drawings are. Excuse me. If you start to draw on things, it'll open up the label and it won't close it, right? So you have to, it doesn't know where the close point is until you clear current frame, and it clears going forward. And there you go. And that's how we can identify rapidly where our stuff is. If you just want to see the bits that have been drawn on, click on the Drawings tab, and it'll just play the parts that have drawings. If you just want to see the questions, click on the Question tabs, and it'll just show the questions. So that's kind of how that works. Now you notice that we can toggle off the drawings label. Well, you can actually toggle off a lot of stuff. We call this down here the movie builder, and depending on what tab you click on, you can do different things, as we've shown already. If you want a custom one, it'll let you drag down whatever, wherever, except for the drawing ones. They're not able to be drawn, and you can move them around and you can draw them from anywhere. Let's say we have another category. I'm just going to use the B key for that, one of the default ones. You can drag that down there too and rearrange these. So this is called a movie builder, and it lets you play things, you know, if you just want to focus on a part of the video that's just the touchdowns, just the questions, just the whatever, that's going to let you do that. So, and if you mouse over it, it'll actually highlight above so you can easily find where they came from. So if you wanted to, let's see here. Oh, let's go and look at modifying the screen. So modifying the screen, you can, if you don't want to see the movie builder, you want more space for more labels, for example, you can do that. You can maximize, the screen size, whatever. Let's say you want to not see the transcript window on the right. You can turn that off. If, say, you want to... yeah. Let's say that you want to see some waveforms. So you can see the audio track waveforms. It's going to take a while, and it's actually slower when you're playing it. No, that didn't take very long. And then you can view the video change graph. So every time there's like a frame change, and again, it takes a minute or two. It could take a little longer depending on your video. So it'll show you when video change occurs. So it'll give, it's kind of like volume, but how much the video changes from frame to frame. So that will show you those. It'll help you kind of navigate your video, identify things well. If you want to look at, where are we at, view, see all of your buttons. Like let's say you've got 30 buttons and they won't all fit on the bottom. They'll fit here. And these depend on you to hit keys, right? So you got to hit the Q key while you're playing. While you're watching your video, you got to hit the key on your keyboard. Like you can't click on this, but up here you can actually click on it. So let's take a look. So as it's playing, I want to lay down drawings. Sorry, not drawings. That one won't work because you have to draw. But label 2, I just want to lay it down, and I click on it, and it tells you it's opened, and you can see it's laying down. So that might make it a little easier to navigate. If you want to do it that way, that's fine as well. So all these things are kind of customizable. Let me put on the transcript back. And get rid of a couple of things. I like mine not to have all this stuff because it just clutters the screen up. And for training, we're just going to leave it like that and put the movie builder back on. Okay, so let's X out of this project, and we're going to pull in some things and make a more complete project. So restart. So I just X'd out up here, and I restarted the project. I'm going to not drag the video in this time. I'm going to navigate to it by double-clicking. So if I double-click, and this is the same video that I dragged in, I'm going to add it back, but I'm just going to double-click that way. And it's letting you, I'm going to turn off the drawings one too, drawings label. Now let's go to import some labels. And this is also in our Getting Started folder. So let's go to labels and timelines on rocks. This is the rocks video after all. Do you want to remove the existing labels? Yeah, I do. I don't want to keep A, B, and C, and D. Let's just remove it. So here's a bunch that have already been done. Same kind of idea. All this guy's questions are already marked, and they're marked pretty accurately. So if you want to then, let's say I've got these subtitles, I can pull in an SRT file, which is for subtitles. I can pull in a CSV. As long as it has, this is what the file looks like raw from Excel as a comma-separated variable, or from Excel. This is person was added. You don't need a speaker, but you do need a start time and you need an utterance. The end time will work on a default system. We can explain that, send us an email, but it gives it 7 seconds by default unless a new utterance superimposes itself on it, and then it goes away. So, and then if you have end times, it'll pull the end time. And if these are mistaken, it thinks that the utterance is the speaker. If they're all short utterances or something like that, then you can change it around and get it and refresh the preview. But this actually looks good. We're going to go with OK, and now you've got your transcript, and you can also put that scroll with playback. It'll put the red thing in a line between when it's between, and then you can actually go to transcript, show transcripts on the video or not. You can go under that and do that. You can, if you want to change the size of the subtitle, you can go to what's that? Preferences on a Mac. If you're on a Windows machine, you're going to go to under Edit and access this. But overlay settings, and you can change the size and the font to whatever you want. And you can change the background and so on. I'm actually happy with it where it is, so I'm going to leave it. So that's how it works. If you want to now just say that you've transcribed it yourself, we'll talk about that toward the end of this video, and there's another video just for that if you want to take a look on our YouTube site, YouTube page. So you can actually create a labeled instance from this. If you just click on this, this utterance that we're looking at here is going to appear on the timelines below, depending on where I want to put it. I'm not actually going to put it there. I don't want to mess it up, but. So that's what that looks like. And so now we've got a bunch of stuff added. We've got our timelines you can add. If you wanted to export those, like let's say you wanted to send these and apply them to another video and just rearrange them slightly. Maybe you've got a whole, you don't want to put it in the same project. You've got another video, the same football game from the other side of the field or something like that. You can export your timelines, and that'll export this whole bit of data. You can export just the labels, and that will export just these 4 things, and the rest of this will be blank. So you could apply over and over and over again if you've got the same players all season long. You don't have to go and make these codes up or these labels up, right? So then to save it on your desktop. Let's look at what it actually looks like to export the whole deal and put it on your desktop. Test timelines, save, and then if you wanted to import it, you would just go to your desktop and find it. Where is it? It would be there, and just click open and it would pull itself in. And I'm not going to do that. It's the same data, obviously, so it'd be redundant, but you could do it. So that's what that looks like. If you want to add a text document like a playbook, you've got a playbook for your team, or you've got a rubric for your teachers, or you've got a score sheet for your customer analysis, your consumer analysis stuff. What you can do is you can go to View, and let's go to Text Links. So you can link text documents to this. So we're going to import what I've got as an Excel file in the test folder here that you've downloaded from Dropbox, and it's called Rubric. A rubric is kind of like a score sheet, but with a lot of words instead of numbers. And you can kind of drag things. This is called the RTOP, Reformed Teaching Observation Protocol. And as we scroll down through it, you can see a whole lot of criteria there. So let's say that I'm playing it and I realize that, hey, this is a really good example of that. And that one there, that's a really good example of that. I don't know if it really is. I'm making these up, but you get the idea. And that one there, too, is pretty good. And you can basically kind of go with things like that. Scroll around. If you wanted it to be cleaner, you could put some over here, whatever. Obviously, you can type in these spaces and make them what you want. If you want to mouse over it, it'll highlight all the ones that you've, or actually click into it, it'll highlight the ones in that particular cell of the thing. And if you want to export it to Excel, you can just export it to Excel X and open it in Excel, and it will give you the start time and end time of all of those segments. We're currently working on inter-rater reliability, which will look at agreement, like if I drag these up and you drag them up, how much do they agree? It's going to be a fleece kappa. Cohen's kappa would really handicap us because in most cases you're not going to just be using 2 raters. So we're going to be looking at that. Look for that to come. What else? I'm going to change that back to a transcript. That's just kind of the view that I prefer. Okay, so there we go. What's next on our list? Oh, exporting stuff. How do you export stuff? So we'll go down to the questions, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see that these are a bunch of different bits here, segments, labeled instances, and I'm going to export the video, and I'll call it questions. Let me choose another one. That's going to be long. It takes, depending on your computer, it's going to take as long to render these as the, let's do this one, this teacher responses. So it's going to be this. And I'm going to export teacher responses, and we'll call it, and it takes about as long to play as it does to render. So if it's a 2 minutes worth of clips, that you're putting together into a new video, it may take you 2 minutes to output that. I might skip a chunk of this video on YouTube when I put it up. And we're just, oh, there, we're done. Okay, close that up. I put it out on my desktop. Let's find it and play it and see what it looks like. Let me get rid of this. And it went to here. So this is now just the teacher responses. So that's what that looks like exported. We just exported again the questions. Let me get rid of that. And let's see what next. So how can you get your data out? So what's it look like to export raw data? So if we want to export the raw data, let's go to the File menu, Export Raw Data, and now we've got to choose an increment. I'm going to choose 1 second, but you could choose half a second, 500 milliseconds, 60 seconds, whatever. I'm going to take 1 second, and I'm going to just give it a title. We'll call it Export Raw Data, and that should take just a second. Be on my desktop. Minimize. Let's go find it there. Where is it? It is here. And it saves as a CSV, which can open in any program. So as you look at it, we've turned the data on its head, kind of, and that lets the transcriptions be complete. So rather than have transcriptions cut off where you only see it to here, 1 cell's worth, we turned everything. So this is 0 time, and as you scroll down, it's only a 14-minute video, so you can see how long it is when you do by the second. You get a lot of data, and the codes that are added, the questions, what have you, are here's the questions, right? All of them are marked. If you have any notes there, those notes will appear to the right of the very first one. How to identify sedimentary rock, and then here's what he talked about as well, that you can see how the codes overlap with the transcripts. So that's kind of how we've chosen to render it in the best possible way. So this is just, as I said, the raw data. And you can send that into analysis as you need to. So this tells you how many instances of interesting were coded, how many instances of questions, labeled instances there were of questions. So he has 24 questions. And that took up, of the 14 minutes, took up 4 minutes total and 54 seconds. And it occupied 34.93% of the whole video he spent questioning. Right? So that's kind of what that means. And so let's X out of that, go back into vNote. That is also, by the way, a paid feature. So if you've got the vNote version, that's not something you can do with that. The rest of the stuff, though, so far, pretty much you can do. What next? Oh, if you have, let's say you got, let's put this into, you want to take clips and mix them around from a whole semester's worth of videos or a whole season's worth of games, videos, or whatever. So you can actually do that in a couple of different ways. One of the ways is you can add to the multi-project workshop just the clips if you've got different projects. Let's save this. I'm going to just save it like that. I don't know. And it goes up, goes up here. So that was my clip that I just added. Whoops. And let me go to X out of this, and let me open another project that I have. Let me find something here that's not. So here is, what's this one? I don't know. Let's see. Football game. Yeah, there we go. And clear. Oh, just put that one there. Let's put this as a clip in also. And we're going to add that to the multi-project workshop. So what we're doing is we're kind of aggregating or putting together clips up here. And you can do as many as you want to. If you want to play them side by side to compare things, you can. So that'll kind of let you play things. If you want to play them start exactly the same time for comparison, whatever, you can do that. Just hit play. Now, obviously, they're different lengths, so they're going to end at different times and make progress at different rates, but that's how that works. So let me pause that and that. And if you wanted to export these, you can export it as a video file in very much the same way as the movie builder. except you can do a couple things. You can overlay test multi-project export video. That's not very clear, but so we'll call it that, and we can actually overlay where it comes from. So it'll tell you what project it comes from. It'll tell you what time it came from. It'll tell you all that stuff as a subtitle on top of the video. So I can export that. Let's see, that's going to be a little bit longish, but let's give it a go anyway. I'll chop this bit out of the tutorial, and it may, like I said, it'll take a minute or two. Looks like our progress bar got ahead of itself. And we're done. So we close that up and go find that video, and it's very much like the same thing we've already done, except as I mentioned, oops, I don't know how I got on. This one will have it'll have the data, and then when the second bit starts, oh, there we go, there. So it tells you what project it came from with that overlay. So that gives you the flavor. You can put clips together from multiple things. If you want to go to that same thing and then go to export as a frame sheet, you can do that too. So a frame sheet's a little different. You have to choose your interval. So I'm going to choose a second. That should work. We'll export it. And that's going to put it as a PDF, and it's going to have all your screenshots every second from those clips put together, and you can print it out, save it as a PDF, whatever you want to do, but it kind of looks like that. So here we go. That's going by the second through the teacher's part there. Kind of gives the flavor of it. That may be useful to you. At some point we should arrive at the football game. There we go. If you want to add, like, let's say you want to do a whole bunch of rows per page, a whole bunch of columns per page, you can do it that way too. And that'll make it only 5 pages. You can look a little more clearly at things, right? So that may be useful to you. Save it, export to PDF, whatever, and then you're good. What else here? Oh, let's go to looking at how you can synchronize 2 videos. So let's X out of this again. Let's not save it. We'll go back to that first video under Getting Started, the Rocks one. And we're going to go to Edit Playback Sources, File, Edit Playback Sources. And we'll go to Add. And let's go to Synchronizing Practice. And this is the same video. It's like a 1-minute chunk of that 14-minute video. It's a small chunk of it. And it is somewhere in the middle. I forget where. And so right now, if we just play them, let's just play them. They start at the same time and they're out of sync. So let's go back to that menu, Edit Playback Sources. And we're going to go to Parallel Mode. Parallel Mode means they play at the same time. A second here. So parallel mode means they play at the same time. If you put them in serial mode, it's going to be one after the other. And you can just arrange the order of it, whatever. Parallel modes, this is the first one is going to be your leftmost, uppermost video. So kind of like reading from left to right, top to bottom, it's going to be the upper left. So let's sync the videos. It's a very short video, the second one, it's only a minute or two. So we're going to just go to auto sync. They were recorded at the same event. So, and you know, they're actually the same video, I just chopped it. So it should definitely be expected to auto sync. If you had like an announcer track where the audio is not going to be the same as the crowd outside, you want to manually sync that. And there's another video on how to do that. I'm not going to go through that now. Most people will be very happy with the auto sync. Let's click OK. In this case, since it's only, whoops, I didn't hit auto sync all. There we go. So you want to go to that and hit auto sync all. This is a short video. It's going to be done in a minute. The longer videos obviously take a longer time, and it may take several, 10, 15 minutes, depending if you've got high-resolution videos with detailed audio and so on. Let's click OK, and OK. Now these are in sync, so you'll see that the first one is paused. At some point, they should start to play together at just the right moment. So somewhere in here. I don't know exactly where, but not there, perhaps. We'll zoom. There we go. So now we're in sync, and that was automatically done with the soundtracks, looking for correlation. And as we get kind of beyond it, it'll tell you that video is ended, and now you're just playing the one video. So that's how you can sync things. It's pretty easy. If you have external audio, like you just had a mic, you can do that in the same way, and you can just drag them into the left one. The first one is that you drag in is going to be the left one, your main video. So excuse me. What else? Oh, collaboration on projects. So let's X out of that. Now I'm going to invite you to I'll clear that one too. Well, no, actually I'll keep that. Let's go to login, and you'll want to use the login that you've created. That you've created for yourself on our website when you downloaded the program. And you should be able to go to join project using passcode. So they're actually in the folder that I gave you, getting started, under links and such. So under this useful links for training, this one, here it is, you'll want to go to this bottom part, passcode to join project, and this is good for a couple of years. So this, if you're watching this video, you should still find that it works. Paste it in there, and make sure to avoid any spaces that you've copied before or after. Just click continue, and that will pull up your access to this project that we've created already. And this is actually one that was done by multiple reviewers, and now you're one of them too. So you can actually hit the, let me hit big key for that one. And so you can actually see all the authors. Let's clear them all and just put Brandon. That's me. And this is just a short video that we used to test. It's like 3 minutes or so. Yeah. So if you wanted to see all the authors, you can, add them back one by one, and you can compare things. How do they see, where they might see good teaching, or where they might see a problem, or, you can get a conversation going about the video. So if you have everybody showing, select all, then they're all going to appear down here under Big Guy. Whoever codes Big Guy, they're all going to appear there. If you just have one author selected, then you'll only see that person's code. So you may want to zoom in a little bit, and it gives you the flavor. So that's kind of how you collaborate. Now, for me as the owner of this project, if I wanted to add people, I can do it two ways. I can just go to Passcode Manager, and I can go to Monstrous Test, generate, actually on current project only, generate passcode. Or if I wanted to see all my projects, I can see, well, in that case I can't. I have to log on to the project, and then I can just click generate passcode, copy it to the clipboard automatically, and share it. Another way, if I know your username, if you've given me your username, I can go to edit projects users directly, And if you do that, you can see who all has access to this. I can determine the permission made. I can see everything, or they cannot see timelines added by others. And I can just type in your name. And there we go. And I can just click add, and that'll add you. So then, how would you, so since if you've joined this project by going to, again, online, join project using passcode, if you join the project, let's X out of it, and then you would see it here. You don't need to enter your code or remember the code or type in the code. And that was called Monsters, so I'm seeing it here. I've got a whole bunch of stuff here, but and I just double click it and it'll open. So once you're logged in, you'll actually see it under online projects. So that's how that works. What about, live coding. And yeah, let's go to live coding. So what does that mean? So X out of the program again, kill your project, go to start new project. And in this case, you can do it a couple of different ways. The easiest way is just to click on activate add video later mode. So what does that mean? That means that you're sitting in your classroom or you're watching your game and you are ready to code, and you've got video cameras up, all over the place. You can consider also our iPad, iPhone version for this. And let's just say that every time the teacher asks a question, I'm going to hit the Q key, make that my hotkey, and I like the color to be this, so whatever. I'm going to give another one called interesting and make it I, and we'll just get rid of these other two. And then just hit play. So it's just on the screen, and hey, he just asked a question. Boom. And oh, that was interesting. Oh, I don't like that color. Let me change it. And he asked another question. He asked another question. And what we can do then is, when we're done with it, we stop it. Then we can go to drag our video in, or you can go to File, Edit Playback Sources, and then change it to parallel mode or serial mode. Doesn't matter if you're only going to have one video. You can call it whatever. So let's go to, let's see, where was that? I don't know, I lost it. Well, I'm actually going to drag it in instead because it's easier. But let's say that that video that we used before, we'll just use again, and there it is. Now our codes, if they don't line up perfectly, let's say you didn't start doing this at exactly the same minute that you started the video cameras, what you can do is chop your video with our software or another one, whatever. You can export a chunk of the video and make a new one and bring it back into vNote. Or you can just, what was I going to say? Oh, shift it, right? So you can shift the where is that? Oh, timeline, offset, edit timeline offset. So what that means is that, if you're a couple seconds off, you can find where he does the demonstration and you can make your codes align, and that should make them all align, and then just click OK. And now you've offset it to the proper amount, and it can go the other way too. It'll just go off the screen. So there you go. That's kind of how that works. As far as the transcribing video, I'm going to leave a link to that, and I'll send you to the other one that's done in good detail. That's about a 10-minute video. That tells you how to make your own transcriptions by turning on the transcribe and how to use looping and that kind of stuff. So that was the training. I hope you enjoyed it, and please don't hesitate to email us any questions. You can email us at info@vnote.org, v-note, v like Victor, video, v-note.org. So info@vnote.org. We'd be happy to help. We usually can respond in 24 hours on business days. So thank you very much, and happy video analyzing.